Hello and what is up guys, Rye here and welcome back to some more automation and BeamNG.Drive. Today we're going to be creating our very own super sedan, basically a BMW M5 killer. This thing's going to beat the M5 probably in every way, going to be a rear-wheel drive, probably a V8 rear-wheel drive. Look at this nice sedan body. It's a little bit shorter wheelbase wise than the M5. I think it's about 5 inches shorter. So it's a little bit shorter, which is okay. It'll still be quite heavy. It's going to be a chunky boy. First things first, I think we'll start off with steel panels to start. We might change if partial aluminum, depending on the budget and the cost and stuff. I think this thing's going to sell for, what, around $80,000 I think is what we're going to go for. $78,000-ish. This is a very expensive vehicle, even for the 1990s. Remember, this is $2012, not 1990s dollars. Monocoque chassis, steel, definitely not carbon fiber. The year is 1995, so we are fighting against, I think, is it the first gen M5 or the second gen M5? It's a BMW M5. They're around 300s, mid 300 horsepower is what we're shooting for, maybe 400 horsepower, maybe 500, who knows. Front mounted, longitudinal is the engine placement. We're gonna go for wishbone and multi-link, so a pretty fancy, this is a luxury sedan at its core, so we're gonna have some sort of a fancy system here. I think we'll go for a 90-degree V8 because that's just fun. All aluminum, 4-valve per cylinder. We can go for 5-valve to be special, but no, we're not that special. And probably like around, I think yeah, this is gonna be a pretty chunky boy. I have made a car that's gonna be similarly south of this before, my DTM car from the early 90s. Like 5 liters, even for the V8 sounds fine. No VVL, that's a little too expensive. Flat plane crank. Nah. We'll just do cast. It's gonna be German muscle. It's not going to be crazy high revving, like what, 5,000-6,000 maybe is what I'm guessing. We'll put the cam profile to 60 to start, no turbos, because yeah, that would be just absolutely insane. We'll go for a twin multi-point EFI performance intake and premium fuel. Then we'll go through some more design details and stuff as we're building the engine, obviously. This is just the basics. Long tube headers, dual exhaust, like just pretty quiet mufflers, but still pretty sporty with the performance intake. So right off the bat here, not revving as high, but here, so 6,000 RPM, that's the goal-ish, maybe 6,500. 295 horse and 305 torque-ish. The not great numbers. We could definitely get better. Our exhaust is restricting us, I'm guessing. But just a bit. Go a bit higher there, and it definitely wants to rev more, but we'll actually just lower the cam profile down, and we'll just take power away, which kind of sucks, to be honest. Losing a lot of power here. We're losing horsepower and torque. Okay, we definitely don't... Okay, we want to keep it around 60. Okay. It's gonna rev more. We'll go for revs. Forge internals, that's fine. We'll go for what, 6,500 RPM? 6,800 RPM. That's not crazy. That's perhaps a little high for a quite, thick V8. 375 horsepower is also very high. We're getting a lot of fuel efficiency. We might as well just make this crazy efficient because we're already making more than enough power, which is increase the compression. A 10-to-1 compression ratio, that's quite high. Then increase the ignition timing just to use up the rest of our octane. See, we're almost at 95. Okay, so 95. Got 383 horsepower. That's not an even number. I want 385. 385 horsepower and 344 pound-feet of torque. It's pretty good numbers. That's more than the M5 for sure. This is, it's an expensive car. So we'll skip this. We'll listen to the engine, of course, during the time-lapse. It's going to be a sedan, not a wagon. Although that'd be actually really cool. I kind of want to do a wagon. We're not going to do a wagon. That's fine. We'll skip the rest. We're going to go for a rear-wheel drive. It's going to be, like, a 6-speed is doable. A 5-speed is doable. I think we'll go for a 5 for now, because you know what? We really need the 6-speed. 319 kilometers an hour. That's a little much, but we'll do that for now. That's where lots of the cost is going. We're going to go for an open, like a limited slip diff. A lot hard to choose here. Like, this is not a race car, but, like, an LSD is probably needed at this point. Sports compound and just some thick boy tires. A little bit wider, 275s, 245s, so very, very large tires, and 18-inch wheel, I believe. Thick wheels for the time even. Alloy wheels there. Vented 4-piston chonker discs probably, and we'll go for solid 3 pistons in the back. That sounds reasonable. We can go for fully underclad. That's going to give us a bit better mileage in automation, obviously. Interior, it's going to be a 5-seater, luxury, and like a luxury cassette maybe? This is like a 5 series, just like the top of the line. Variable hydraulic, we can just go hydraulic, traction control, ABS. The best safety, of course. And just progressive, and just the best progressive springs, probably. Doing it for sport. So around 3,900 pounds, so around the same weight as the M5. Which M5 am I even looking at here? Just as an example, I've got a E34 M5. Let's see here. E34 M5. I just want to see, is it the... Okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's good. That's good. Okay, so we got the E34, so 88, so this is the first gen M5. Okay, so we're still in the first gen M5. We're at the last year, though, so obviously this thing is at the tail swing of the M5. We got 21 MPG, we got 0 off-roading, which is fine. And 0-60 is around 5.8 seconds, which is the same pretty much as the M5, so that's actually kind of reasonable. Okay, there's 5.3, there's a bit better. So we can do 330 kilometers an hour, which is quite quick. And what are we doing for cost? Well, the market's 48 grand, which is not bad. That's okay. That's a good start. Honestly, this is all a good start. 0-60 in the 5.5 second range. I would just said 5.3, but maybe I'm blind. I don't know anymore. A 6-speed manual. What do the M5 have? This is one thing I just did not check yet. I know the M5 had an inline 6, like a 3.2 to a 3.8. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I can't recall. I can't find it's a 5-speed off the right here. It's okay, it's okay. 5-speed. We'll leave it for a 5-speed for now. I might change it to a 6-speed. It depends on what we want, really. So the M5 could do 300 kilometers an hour, which is about 186 miles an hour. And we can do more than that. We can do nearly 200 miles an hour in the 90s in a 4-door saloon or sedan, whatever you want to call it. We're going to increase the quality just by a little bit in here because we got some money to spend. We'll stay on steel panels because the weight's where we want it, basically. Increase the interior quality, which will increase the weight just a bit. You can probably go for a CD player. We could probably do that. That's a bit of costs there, 60,000. And we are down to 3,800 pounds, which is honestly almost a little light for my taste. I want to keep it a pretty heavy, a pretty chunky boy. We can go for just solid discs. Probably go for 4-piston front and rear. Go for 4. The big old front disc brakes. Pretty good stats, not terrible. It's a GT car apparently, which is not what we're going for, but that's okay. That's fine. And boy, oh boy, do I love this body. I think the basics are done. We are under... for sport again. We are under budget by a little bit. We're at 61,000. We've got about 80,000 or so to spend. Like 60 grand is probably dang close to the M5 in price, if not better than the M5 in price. We can increase the quality here, +5, get some better MPGs, and burn some cap. Okay. So I think what we're going to do, like I always do, is I'm going to design the vehicle in a time-lapse. And yeah, the M5 did have a 5-speed or a 6-speed manual. 6-speed for the last year. We can go for a 6-speed probably. We'll do a 6-speed. Okay, yeah. We'll do the time-lapse, we'll design the car, and then we'll take it for a nice test drive around a very interesting track in BeamNG, so stay tuned for that. The time-lapse is going to start now, so sit back, relax, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, so we're designing our German-esque sleeper sedan from the 90s, and I do want to take, again, I'm going to say this a lot, I want to take some cues from my other German, pretty much a compact sports sedan, which is based off of the Mercedes 190 Evo. This is going to be a bit different though, so what I'm doing is basically framing the top front fascia, the headlights, and the grille, just getting a basic setup of what I want. I'm really trying to decide if I really want to copy the previous car's front end exactly with the headlights and stuff, but I do decide against it because I don't want to have it the exact same. And this is the bigger brother. This is the bigger vehicle, more powerful engine, obviously quite a bit heavier as well. We have basically a framed-in front end here with just 2 bars going across the front end grille, with the AVA logo up front, and then a hood bulge is what I'm working on next. The headlights are nearly done. Tweaks here and there are coming. I do play around with the color quite a bit because I'm not too happy with this red right now, but I have it on there anyways because it can just show off lots of the body lines of the vehicle. Next up, I am working on a bit more of the actual engine tuning. The wheels, I added a sunroof as well. The front fascia is pretty much done now. Door handles are being added on. Again, this thing is going to be quite sporty, but not crazy. It's not a supercar. It won't have a giant wing. It might have a wing, but not a giant wing. Basically, the back end, I am playing around with the exact same back end as my previous vehicle, the CS250 Evo car, or the DTM car. Front end's getting a bit of tweaks here and there as well, putting some steel or some darker or some grayer plastic, not as dark, making the headlights a bit wider as well. The rear end, I am playing around with the spoiler, just seeing if I want to have a spoiler, which I do end up leaving that one on there, I believe. But then the taillights, I'm not too happy with them right now. They will get changed. The bottom rear fascia is similar, very similar to my my CS250, my DTM car that I made, my pretty much German touring car. The wing is still being played around with a bit more, and a bit of tuning here and there. So the car costs about 60,000, and I want to get it up to about 80,000 or so. Back end is still getting some tweaks. I have some FS500 badging. Usually on all my AVA cars, the badging's on the side, like the car moniker, the name of the car. But in this case, this is a more grown-up vehicle, so it's going to have just on the back, nothing too flashy. Here, 60s in the low 5-second range still. Finishing up in front of us, we have the FS500 VSR. Okay, so the vehicle is done. The FS500 VSR. I'm not sure what VSR stands for, but it sounds hella cool. FS500 now, you guys might know this car is a very similar design scheme, or follows a lot of design cues from another vehicle I made, my 90s DTM. So pretty much it's like a German small compact sedan touring car, like a race spec. This is a straight spec of a very high-end German saloon. So a bigger German, like a mid-size or almost a full-size German sedan. The design, again, it follows some design cues from my other vehicles. It follows a lot of design cues. It's just a bigger, more mature vehicle, though. It's, you know, it also is German, so it's got to be, it's just, you know, not really basic, but very serious design. Nothing too fancy and crazy about it. We got a massive power bulge with like a bit of air suck there. Just big individual headlights. My DTM car is 2 headlights, but that's an older model. This is a newer one, and it's bigger, so it's got more mature headlights, less sporty, but it's still very, very aggressive, obviously. Dark blue, nice 5-spoke wheels. This is a mod. I'm not sure what mod this is, but it's a nice wheel pack. I like these wheels a lot. I'm not 100% sold on them, but I think they're pretty good. The side is very plain in this car. It does not have any CS badging on this top-end model. Again, this is a little less boy racer and a little bit more mature businessman. At the back, that's where everything goes to the window. We got boy racer all back here. You know, you gotta know this is the top-end model, right? You got the FS500 badge. All this is probably normal. Then we got the VSR writing right there. So they've decided to put the badge off-center for this FS500 model, or for the FS models in general. Then a pretty basic license plate will make that darker. And we have dual exhaust at the back there. They're actually true dual exhaust, which is pretty cool. All the smoke will be coming out of both those tips. Again, very similar. It's got a lot of cues from my other previous variant of the GTM car, this bottom fascia, which I really like how it looks. And I'm actually pretty happy with the back end. It took me a long time to get something I liked with the back end. Maybe the dark colors are a little bit too exciting. Like, we can go for just like a plain blue. Like, either way, that's nice too. No complaints with that. Actually, I think I like that better. But it's going to follow some design cues from the front, so I think we'll leave it as black for now. Because it's got to follow some things from the front, obviously. Gonna have some sort of cohesive design. We'll keep it like that. It's fine as is. So what we're going to do now is I want to drive this car on the Top Gear test track. It's a track I downloaded fairly recently, and we're going to hop in there, and I just want to see what this thing can do compared to a real M5 or to any car, and we'll time it against actual Top Gear times. So I'll see you guys there in just 1 second. Alright guys, so we're here in BeamNG.Drive. This is the Top Gear test track. A very, very good recreation of it. There's a mod, I forget what it's called. I think it's called American Roads, if I'm not mistaken. I've very rarely downloaded mods for BeamNG, mostly just playing it for automation. But we're here. The car, actually, the back looks fantastic, I think, in BeamNG. It looks awesome. I love it. No complaints with this. Front, looks good, looks good. Headlights, I'm not 100% sold on the headlights. That's okay. The front ends, I'm not 100% sold. For an older car, it's great, but for this body, I don't know if it fits. The hood scoop is very aggressive, though. I love that. And the front splitter is not having a good time. That's a wing, actually, which gave me downforce in the front, so we've lost that. That's okay. So we're going to be doing the Top Gear test track, and what we're going to do, I'm not going to say what time we're going for. I'm not going to say what time we're willing to beat. We're going to do the lap right now first, and then we're going to look at other times. We're going to hop into first person. And this hood scoop looks awesome. We're going to launch from 7,000, apparently, like a maniac. And very little wheel spin, especially with that short gear, and that's kind of surprising. But man, this I guess is what is this, like an air exhaust, basically a heat extractor, basically. It looks pretty interesting. This is the Top Gear test track. I'm not the best driving on it. I haven't driven on it too much, but we're gonna get there. Yeah, we're gonna just go for these checkpoints, so it might not be exactly how it's, you know, the stick would drive it or whatnot on the actual test track. But it's a close enough representation. And this is honestly already one of my favorite racetracks because it's, you can't crash. You can't crash anything. There's nothing to smash into, which is great. You can go off the track a bit here and there, but it's still fantastic. We're going to brake a little early. The third again. Third is about as low as we can go back down to. I think it's the lowest I've ever gone back down to while testing. Kind of butcher that turn by a little bit. That's okay. But the gearing, it's a little bit short, I feel like. And honestly, I don't know. It doesn't feel crazy powerful. This is the 90s after all, though. We're competing against like a low 300 horsepower BMW M5, etc. On the inside here, taking the corner very, very close to the inside. We're fine, we're good. On throttle. I'm braking right here. Cut in, just braking a little bit, then we're going to turn in. Stay in fourth. Third. Over the curb. And just to the finish line. A 126.1. Now that's a pretty good time. That's a not bad time. I mean, it's my second worst time ever on this track. I haven't done this track very much, but like a 120, 126. Let's take a look at what the actual times are via Wikipedia, not the Top Gear site, because that's just for weirdos, whoever uses that. A 126, we're around the same time as a E60 M5. An E60 M5, so we're looking at a V10 M5 versus ours. We beat an E60 M5 by 0.1 seconds, which is pretty good. This is my probably my third or fourth try doing a lap on this just to get some practice in. Similar times to a Lancer Evo 8 FQ320, which is pretty good. They beat us by 0.1 of a second. Similar to a Gallardo Spider with a 125.7, and a bit faster than a E92 M3. No, that's Moist. No, Focus RS MK3, a Cayman S. I'm not sure what generation, doesn't really say. A C6 Corvette. We beat a Lexus ISF. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We are a full-size sedan with only 80 horsepower. Not a lot of horsepower. I want to do one more thing. I want to hop quickly just into a quarter mile, and we'll just take a look and just see what this thing is. This is the American Road track. We'll go to the automation test track. No. We'll go to West Coast USA. I just want to see a drag strip real quick. Now, it's not going to be fantastic. This thing's not a crazy fast car. It's got a lot of mid-range power. I feel like it just pulls and pulls and pulls up into all the RPMs, which is, a bonus of the NA engine. I'd like to make a next generation vehicle of this, I think, at some point, because this was a lot of fun to make. I don't think I've made too much German sedans lately, especially in videos, because I haven't made a video for a while. We don't have the front arrow. I think we would have got a better time with that front arrow, because we had a bit of understeer during the lap. We'll do ESC off. I'm just going to launch it pretty high, like 4,000, because we don't want wheel spin to lower than that. No wheel spin there at all. This is a drag strip, though, so I expect very little wheel spin in the first place. And to fifth. So not a crazy trap speed of 175 kilometers an hour at 12.9. Okay, that actually is pretty impressive. I'm not sure what the BMW M5 would have been, and I don't care to look that one up right now, but, like, that's not a bad time at all. That's definitely comparable to, like what is, like, a 2020 M5, or, yeah, let's see as an example. Let's see. I'm sure it's faster. A 10.9. Okay, yeah, that's not comparable. How about, like, a 2010 5? It does a 12.5. Pretty good for 2009 M5, so that's a V10 M5 doing a faster quarter mile. How about, like, a 2000? We're just looking by the decade here. 14.8? 14.8. Oh, wow. This is just tested by Motor Trend, where they did a 0-60 and 6.2, which is a pretty bad 0-60, if I might assume. But a 14.8 is pretty bad. Looking at this one, Car and Driver did a 13.9 with a 2000 M5. So this is a, what, E38? E39? E39 M5? So a 13.9. So we did a 12.9. That's a great quarter mile time. Whichever way you look at it, that's a great quarter mile time. This car looks great in the blue. The front, yeah, it's pretty good. The back, I'm feeling the back today. Reminds me of a bit of a Ford, and a little bit of some other stuff. A little bit of Benz, a little bit of Audi. The body looks almost like an Audi body, like an RS. A big, like an S7 or an A7 body. I don't know. Let me know. So we'll end the video off here. More automations coming. We have a live stream coming tomorrow testing some very sporty cars on some very sporty tracks. So make sure to tune in for the live stream tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys like the video, leave a like down below. It does mean a lot to me. It helps me a lot as well. There's more content coming in the near future, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.